everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you've been on this channel a long time, hi, how you doing? Or if you just know me in real life, you probably know that I am an actor and that I trained in musical theatre. And if, like me, you trained in musical theatre, or if you're just a lover of musical theatre, you've probably had the experience of going to maybe a family event or an acting workshop, and there'll be like one person, maybe Uncle Ian, Uncle Bob, or maybe Tarquin, who's just graduated from his BA Hons in classical theatre, and you'll be having a conversation and you'll just say, well, I trained in musical theatre, I love musical theatre, and they'll say something along the lines of, oh, I hate musicals. Musicals are so stupid. Musicals just aren't my thing. Sometimes this conclusion comes from someone who has seen loads of musicals. They've seen good musicals, they've seen bad musicals, they've seen amateur productions, they've seen professional productions, they've seen tours, they've seen musical films, they've seen live broadcasts, and they're just like, it's not for me. And that's fine. This video is not for you. Don't worry. This video is for the people who have maybe seen one musical in their life, or they haven't seen a musical in life, they've seen one musical film in their life, or they haven't seen a musical film either. They've literally seen nothing. They've never seen a musical in their lives, and yet they are adamant. They are convinced that musical theatre, nope, not for me. Absolutely not. And I just want to say to you guys out there, I understand. I know why you hate musicals. This video is for you. We're going to get through this together. And if you're someone who knows someone who hates musicals, if you're sitting here being like, every time I mention Les Mis, I get shot down for my love of Les Mis, I'm here for you as well, okay? I'm going to explain why these people think that way, so you can go to them and be like, it's okay. You hate these things because of X, Y, and Z. And I understand it, but I'm just asking you to question that. I don't know why I'm being so adamant. So, from my personal experience, my own opinion, these are 4 possible reasons why you hate musicals. Reason number 1, you're not used to the theatrical convention. I was chosen for the Constitutional Convention. Here is a New York junior delegate. Now what I might say might sound indelicate. I'm gonna stop. Bonus reason, it's because we do that. But yes. Reason number 1, you are not used to the theatrical convention. Musical theatre requires a lot of suspension of disbelief. Now, to be clear, all performance art does require some suspension of disbelief because it's not real, and we as audiences have to be like, I know this isn't real, but we're gonna go with the flow.
Hi guys, me from the editing room. Lindsay Ellis actually mentions this difference in suspension of disbelief between musicals and film in her latest video about why Cats was a hot mess. So I definitely recommend that video, and I'll link it in the description below because it's great.
But this suspension of disbelief is on a spectrum. At this end, kind of just before reality, you'll have something like a kitchen sink drama on television. There you've got your actors actually in a flat, in an actual kitchen with an actual kitchen sink that works, sitting at an actual kitchen table, eating, I don't know, Marmite on toast. As an audience, the only disbelief that we have to suspend is the fact that we are watching that through a screen, through our television screen. So once we're over that falsehood, then it's like, well, we're just in these people's kitchens watching their lives, it's fine. In the middle, we've got plays. If we're being conservative, let's say again, kitchen sink drama, very, very naturalistic kind of plays. Now there's more suspension of disbelief because you are going into a theatre and sitting in a seat with hundreds of other people. If you're at either end of the row, you might be able to see in the wings, and you might be able to see some of the stage hands or the set that's waiting to be brought on from the sides. You might be able to see set flying in from the fly floor, but on the stage, you'll have a recreation of a real kitchen with a real looking kitchen sink, what looks like a real kitchen table, 2 real people eating Marmite on toast and talking to each other and interacting with each other in the way that someone in their kitchen would. By and large, there might be kind of differences in volume and projection because obviously what they're saying needs to carry to the back of the auditorium, but what they're saying and how they're saying it is pretty naturalistic. Even though there's more things that you need to suspend your disbelief for, it's still within the realms of normalcy. You're like, okay, cool, everyone's acting more or less normal, it's fine. Then you get to like musicals, which are kind of like here. There's a spectrum within musicals depending on like the style of the musical, the same with plays, and even with like TV shows, the style of TV show, like how they do their editing and, you know, kind of how they change with like the lighting stuff. You can tell that I know more about theatre than film, can't you? Anyway, there's a spectrum within it, but again, to make things easier for us, it's a pretty, as close to reality as possible type of musical. There's not crazy fancy lighting, people aren't wearing sequins in their house, you know, they're dressed like normal people, going about kind of normal lives that we would recognise. Past musicals, you've probably got things like panto, and then if there's a kitchen sink dance show, like kitchen sink ballet, that would be like way over there. So musicals, I'd say, are about here. And again, if you're in a theatre, you can see set flying in, but then you've got the added thing of music and people singing, which I'm sure you know is not normal. But then there's two sides to that. So it might be there's a lighting change, a change of lighting state, and then one of the characters goes off into a sung internal monologue about how they actually hate Marmite and they're just eating it because they love this other person. If anyone wants me to write this show, let me know. And then you'll be like, okay, people don't usually sing, but I get that this is a device to show the inner thoughts of this person, and you're like, okay, it's weird, but I'll go with it. Then you got the musicals where the two people just sing at each other about the Marmite on toast, and then at that point you're like, why are they singing? People don't sing to each other, why are they not just having a conversation? And then it goes into a dance routine about the Marmite on toast, and you're like, what is happening? Why is this happening? This doesn't happen in real life. And if you're not used to suspending your disbelief that much, you're gonna find it really feckin' weird. If you think about it, it is weird, and if you're not used to that, you're not going to enjoy it. For want of a better word, it takes practice. Like, I was watching musical films from when I was a child. Like, I grew up watching The Sound of Music, My Fair Lady, The King and I, Disney movies as well. I grew up watching Disney's movies. Those things have singing every 10 seconds. So by the time I got to an adult, well, even a teenager, and I could be pedantic and be like, yeah, but why are they singing though? I was just used to that being a thing, so I didn't even question it. If you're not used to that, if you didn't grow up watching musical Disney films or musical live action films, you're gonna find it weird and you're probably not gonna like it. So that's reason one why you don't like musicals. Reason number two why you don't like musicals is that the only musicals that you've seen might have been really badly written. Now, this happens in every genre of art. There's gonna be stuff that's really freaking good, Hamilton, and there's gonna be stuff that's really freaking bad. And this isn't just with the writing either. Sometimes a show can be really well written, but the execution is awful. And I've seen bad productions of shows, definitely. The thing is, when you have to suspend your disbelief so much, that's already difficult. And then if it's done badly, either written or executed badly, it makes it so much worse. This is also the reason I think people don't like pantomime. Pantomime is a really, really stylized form of theatre. It's also meant to be comedic. So firstly, bad comedy is just cringe. And secondly, just because it is so out there and it is so weird and it's just so like, what is going on, and bonkers, if it's done badly, it's just like, oh God, kill me now. And it's the same with musicals. You have to suspend your disbelief so much that when it's bad, you're like, oh no, just swallow me into a hole. Whereas if you watch a bad soap, it's like, okay, it's naff and maybe like cliche and over dramatic, but fine. If you watch a bad play, it's like, it's a bit boring, but okay, fine. But like a bad musical, it's almost viscerally painful. Has anyone else been there? Let me know in the comments. And again, if that is your only experience of musical theatre, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you're like, no, never again, no. So yeah, if you've only had experience of musical theatre that's badly written or badly executed, then that's probably another reason why you don't like musicals. I understand. Reason number 3 why you don't like musicals is that musicals can date really easily. Again, this is true of all performance art. There are TV shows that date, there are plays that date. The problem with musicals is because they have music, it's not just the stories that date, the music does as well. June is busting out all over. That was probably a banging tune in the 40s. Everyone loved it, couldn't get enough of it. Now, not so much, unless you're using it as a protest song against the fact that self-employed people won't get any kind of government help till June with the current crisis. No one is like, oh, what do I want to listen to? What do I want to get hyped up for a night out on the town? June is busting out all over. No one does that. It's also the reason why a lot of kind of musicals coming out at the moment have more contemporary pop scores. Think Dear Evan Hansen, Six. Six is basically a pop concert. And how popular is that? It's because that is the kind of music that's popular right now. So even if you have a musical with a story that is really timeless, if it has music that is like really heavily sounding like the 60s, it's gonna make it feel dated to a contemporary audience now. This can be helped with reorchestration. You can take a show and reorchestrate it to sound less dated, more contemporary, but that is also dependent on the rights and whether the rights holders will allow a production to do that, to make changes to the orchestration or the arrangements. So there are limitations to how much you can reorchestrate things to update them. But yeah, if your only experience of musicals again are older musicals, The Sound of Music, My Fair Lady, Carousel, Oklahoma, you might feel that they're dated and therefore you don't like them because you're not into that old stuff, you know? So that is the third reason why you may not like musicals. And the final reason why you may not like musicals is because you believe the stereotypes about musical theatre and you believe those stereotypes aren't your jam. If you don't know what the stereotypes of musical theatre are in terms of the shows or the people involved in musical theatre, it's that musical theatre is gay, everyone is camp or sassy or flamboyant or over the top or loud or obnoxious. And then in terms of audience demographics, the stereotypes would be that they're old, rich, white people, middle class to upper class people, or that they're super fans. Stans, I believe, is the current word used to describe those people. So it's either old people or musical theatre stans who are just insane. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying at all that if you do not like musical theatre, that means you're homophobic or that you hate old people or that you hate excited, mostly teens. I'm not saying that, but if you don't feel like you belong in a community, that can put you off. At this point, I just want to say that I don't feel like I fit into any of those demographics, and I am a professional who works in musical theatre most of the time and who loves musical theatre. I think it's a brilliant art form for storytelling, but at the same time, I am not sassy, I am not camp, I'm not good at throwing shade, I'm not gay, so there we go. I'm not old or middle class or rich by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely not white, I don't know if you can tell. And I'm also not a stan. I have never called myself a stan for anything or anyone. I have huge respect and admiration for artists. I have huge love of particular shows, but I would never go as far as to call myself a stan. So I, as a musical theatre professional and long-time lover of musical theatre, do not fit into those stereotype demographics. And yet here I am. Here I am. And also, there are lots of musicals that don't fit into those demographics either. Let's go with the assumption that musical theatre is camp. Spring Awakening, Les Mis, Parade, Sondheim. They're not camp. Okay, musicals are for old people. Six. Spring Awakening, Avenue Q, Be More Chill, Dear Evan Hansen aren't written for old demographics. They're written for young people. Musicals are just for stans. Yes, there are musicals that have cult followings like Heathers and Six, but that's not all musicals that are put out. You have smaller musicals, new writing musicals, musicals that have a wide appeal. Not all musicals have only a stan cult following. So it's unfair to say that that's what musicals are. Also, there is the argument that you don't like musical theatre music, you like pop music, or you like jazz music, or you like house music, or whatever it is. I mean, some of it kind of is its own genre, but there are also musicals that have different musical genres as their music. At the Young Vic, I don't know when it will be put on now, again, with everything that's going on, but they have scheduled in their season Orpheus, a house music opera with house music. That's as far from musical theatre as you can go. So to say that musical theatre music is not your kind of music, yeah, there are some musical theatre music shows, kind of your more legit musicals, I'd say was definitely in that vein. Shows like Les Mis and Ragtime that have more sweeping scores, you could say that's a musical theatre music sound. But also there's loads of musicals that just aren't, they're not that. Now what I would love is for everyone who hates musicals to go out into the world, watch a load of different musicals of different genres, different musical genres, different subject matters, different audience demographics, different dates that they were written. Watch all of them and be like, you know what? After watching all of these, I either like them or I don't. So essentially, I'd love everyone who hates musical theatre to have an informed reason for hating musical theatre. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm not saying everyone has to like musicals. Sometimes you genuinely don't like them and they're fine, like I said at the beginning of this video. I'm also well aware that there will be many people who hate musicals who don't care to find out if they actually hate musicals or not, who won't care to go and rewatch My Fair Lady and see if they actually like it, to go on YouTube and find a bootleg of XYZ musical and watch it to see if they would actually want to see it live, to go and support their amateur dramatic society's production of Bye Bye Birdie. And I understand that. What I would say to those people is, like, if you have decided just by yourself that you don't like musicals and you don't care to back up that claim by actually experiencing musicals and seeing if you actually don't like them, that's fine, it's your life. But don't shoot down people who do like musical theatre because you've decided that you don't deign to find out if you might like it as well. So those are 4 reasons why you or someone you know may not like musicals. I hope you found this video interesting, informative, fun. I don't know what this video was, but I hope you liked it. If you did like it, then please like and subscribe. It will really help me to grow my channel, which in these times of not having much to do is one of the few things that I can really focus on right now. So would really appreciate it, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye friends!